Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días, hola. So Caroline and myself, we met like 17 years ago at the culinary school in Belgium. And well, so many years later, we're here having our restaurant Humus and Hortense that we founded, well, the first principles we founded already in 2008. 2008, a long time ago, so we definitely suffered some pioneering because nobody knew what plant-based fine dining was about. But at some point, we got recognized for our approach. And 2019, we received the prize for the best vegan restaurant in the world. And 2020-21, we got the green Michelin star, and then we also received the classic red Michelin star for our work.
So yes, we believe chefs have to be activists. We work so closely with our organic farmer that we started noticing since a couple of years that there is a change in climate. So harvests sometimes are getting lost. So we are very concerned, and that's one of the reasons why we started the movement Soil Mates, as you have seen in the video. We started that movement in 2020 as a way to unite chefs and farmers, scientists and artists, because we believe that the key is a fertile soil. It's the key for life. It's the key for life above the ground and also below the ground. So by organizing annual events, we want to bring awareness to this cause and give a voice to the earth.
And we, as a chef, we can make a difference. And how we do it, first of all, is by not calling our kind of cooking vegan. We want something more positive. And so we came up with the name botanical gastronomy, which is a better reference, we believe. And botanical gastronomy has 5 principles. So we only use fully plant-based ingredients. So we learned that decarbonizing the menu actually is really well done when you're not using any meat, fish, shellfish, or whatsoever. So any animal or product. Actually, and we definitely don't perceive it as a restriction. On the contrary, it really helps us to be more creative, and that's actually something very important for us, because creativity is what we love the most. Of the 2,000 jobs, mini jobs that we have as a restaurant and chef owner, we love to create. And one of those maybe less known ingredients that are really, really interesting is the tuna sinensis. It's a leaf from a tree, but it actually really smells and tastes like onions, grilled or charred or baked onions. And then second principle, only hyper local ingredients. For us, extremely important. We only want to work what comes from Belgium. So most of the ingredients from our farm, Monde des Mille Couleurs, as Jose told. But for example, we don't use pepper to season our dishes because it doesn't make sense to us. In summertime, our farmer Dries, he has lots of varieties of chilies, and so we're gonna pick them, we dry them, we make oils out of them, we pickle them, whatever, and that will be the seasoning that we use whenever we want to, and whenever we create a specific dish that goes on that ingredient.
So, and the third principle of botanical gastronomy is from soil to plate. Often you hear that chefs are working from farm to table, but basically there are two different farming methods. One is degenerative farming, which means that the soil where the vegetables and plants are growing is depleted, so you have to add artificial fertilizers and pesticides. It's also coming from the farm, not really what we are looking for. Our farmer is working in a regenerative way. It's regenerative farming. That means that after every harvest, he re-nourishes the soil. So he gives again life to the soil, and that's actually something that we notice year after year. We're already working with him for almost 12, 13 years, that each year the taste and the flavors of the vegetables and the herbs are becoming more concentrated. The herbs that I use in the cocktails, they contain way more essential oils, so that gives more interesting extracts to the drinks that I'm making. And the fourth principle of botanical gastronomy are the zero waste principles that we believe is extremely important in terms of food waste in the restaurant, but we also want to reduce the food loss already in the field. So the first level, what we are focusing on is that we are in daily contact with a farmer, so he tells us which kind of vegetables are at the peak of the flavor. And that can change, let's say, every 2-3 weeks. So when you have a vegetable, there are different stages of harvesting that he informs us when we can work with these kind of ingredients. Just to give an example about leeks, a couple of years ago he had an overproduction of leeks. He couldn't harvest everything before frost. So the next spring he wanted to clear the field, and he noticed that there were like baby shoots just rising from, let's say, the mother leeks of past year. He started experimenting with that, and we discovered actually a very delicate, delicious texture and flavor. You could almost compare it to asparagus, and that's something that if he has like a leftover of leeks in spring, that is what we work with during, let's say, 2-3 weeks, because that season is also very limited. Another level of food waste is referring to the restaurant. Of course, we work from roots to leaf, so we try to use every part of a vegetable, of a herb. As to give an example, asparagus are a very precious ingredient. The top parts, they go to the cuisine, so the kitchen, they work with it in the tasting menu. I use in my drinks the fibery parts, they go to the zero waste cocktails. And for example, with the peels, I make a lactofermentation in a non-alcoholic pairing, or I infuse it in alcohol to preserve it for a later stage. Or even like the bottom parts, which is very hard and fibery, I infuse it for 3 months in Cheong, which is a Korean technique that we learned when we were invited in Seoul. And it is like equal parts of sugar and asparagus in this case, extracted for 3 months, and it gives almost like a floral taste after that period. And if then there's something remaining of the vegetables, that goes into the compost, and these composts are then distributed over the Brussels farms, so the city farms in Brussels.
And of course, the fifth one, seasonality. We are really guided by our 24 micro-seasons, and because we're really in contact with our farm. So actually, it's our farmer that dictates our menu, that tells us what we are going to use. And a nice one-liner is like, our mise en place starts in the garden. And we have another example. Of course, I think you all know the Belgian endives, and it's also one of our favorite ingredients at this specific time, actually, in the year. And actually, they plant it only twice a year. They harvest it as well only twice a year. And the white part that you see on top is the leaves, the crunchy leaves that you can eat raw, cook, or whatever. The roots, they can be dried, roasted, and then that is what Caroline uses to make a cocktail out of it, cocktail or mocktail. And so we also brought a dish with us that is in the menu that also shows the seasonality of what we do. It's on mushrooms, wild mushrooms. We work with a mushroom hunter that goes into the south of our country to pick mushrooms for us, and then he brings whatever he has. I'm only. So, and what is really nice with him, so the man is like 77 years old, incredibly passionate. I learned a lot about mushrooms from him, and he brings whatever he finds. So I can't choose. I can't tell him I want ceps, I want this, I want that. It's and so it just one small minute. So we actually, for this dish, we make it quite easy. We just sear the mushrooms in the pan. And the second part, which is very, very important to us as well, some what we call mushroom XO sauce. So we make a basic sauce out of way different dried ingredients. Of course, dried mushrooms that come from a mushroom farm on like 2 kilometers away from the restaurant. They bring them by bike. And to that we're gonna add the garum. Garum made of mushrooms. So what we do whenever we have in season, we also make garums out of the mushrooms. We ferment them for a couple of months to get them really, really, really flavorful, and then we make the sauce, and then we season the sauce with that ingredient. I'm very sorry, but this fire isn't like doing a lot, so baking the mushrooms seems quite complicated. But luckily I already prepared one. So actually, so this is how we present the dish in the restaurant. So on top you see pancake made with cabbage. We have a little bit of cream of Jerusalem artichoke, a barbecue sauce, slightly smoked, and then the other part of the very seasonal seasonality, the shoots of the cabbage. So a couple of weeks a year, Dries, he has these tiny shoots that you see, all different colors that we can use. That's how we finish the dish. So we come in the table, and then that's how we present it. We take off the lid, we put it like that, and then in the bowl, people, they get a tofu made out of sunflower seeds. So we have the mushrooms on top, and then we finish it off with the mushroom garum sauce.
Okay. So how do we translate botanical gastronomy in our restaurant? Well, Nicolas and I, we are both trained as chefs. You could say Nicolas, he's the chef of the food section. I'm the chef of all the botanical drinks. And what we will present also for today is a dish around yellow beets. So it is a dessert, which is a typical dessert that we want to prepare, because our desserts are always at the intersection of sweet and savory, of herbal, botanical, and more the fruity part of vegetables. So I made a cocktail with this dish. It's one of my favorite cocktails because it is really around the citrus flavors, very refreshing flavors, just as a way to balance the earthiness of the yellow beets. So the cocktail consists of 9 different ingredients. In all the cocktails that I create, the aspects, the 5 principles of botanical gastronomy are presented. So it's of course always plant-based, botanical. There is the zero waste principles are there. It is always local produce that we use. There are the elements of respecting the soil, and then of course I follow the rhythm of our farmer, so that means the 24 micro seasons. The first aspect that I would like to mention is that I use a Belgian gin. It's a Belgian gin from organic grains, and that was quite a search because most spirits, they are coming overseas, so the carbon footprint is very high with spirits. So I work with a small-scale family-owned distillery, which is in the south of Belgium, and that's something that I've been doing, or infusing my herbs with already for about 5 years. So the first element that I add to the cocktail is our lemon leaves. So in Belgium, our farmer, he has lemon trees, but of course, due to the cold climate, it's hardly possible to have any fruit. But we discovered that actually the leaves of the lemon tree are very aromatic, and they give also the citrus but also the herbal touch to the cocktail. So that is one part. The second element in the cocktail is our lemons that we have from a lemon collector, also but not that far from Brussels. He has his private garden. He is passionate about all kinds of varieties of lemons, and he adapted different trees to the cold climate. And each year we receive about 5 kilos, so very limited amount of lemons. So therefore we want to squeeze everything out of these, let's say, precious ingredients for us. A part also goes to the kitchen team. Another part are the peels that I infuse for 3 up to 6 months in the Belgian gin. And the lemon peels itself, they give an interesting bitter, slightly bitter aftertaste, which is a good combination with the caramelized yellow beets that is served with. So that is another part that will be added to the cocktail. And then the third element is that are bergamots. So the peels I just show you are Sudashi lemons. These are bergamots. So you can see it's only the fibery inner part that I use, but still the color, it gives a nice extract, especially after 6 months in being infused in gin. Again, zero waste principles are highly valued in a restaurant. And I will add one more part to the cocktail. So bergamots, very aromatic, give an interesting flavor to the cocktail. Then the fourth citrus element are lemon leaves, lemongrass leaves. I mean, the lemongrass gives some herbal part to it, but then again the citrus which is present. The season of lemongrass is very limited in Belgium, Therefore, I try to preserve it also for the winter months by using alcohol as a preservative for it. That's another part that will be added. And then in a cocktail, always a cordial, which is important, and this will be a cordial of chervil. So you see a little bit of the leaves, but the leaves are mainly going to the kitchen. I use the stems of chervil, and chervil from molecular perspective, molecular affinity is interesting with the yellow beets, and then the coriander is matching with the ingredients in the gin. So that will be another level of the cocktail. Then there is verjus. So as I said, we don't have many lemons in Belgium. So for me to bring acidity to a cocktail and to balance with the sweetness of a cordial, I use verjus, which are the unripe grapes from the winery, which otherwise would be thrown away. So that is extracted in a verjus. And that is what I like to use for refreshing the cocktail. Another element, vermouth, which is a dry vermouth, gives some dryness to a cocktail and also the complexity, so it enhances the herbal flavors. Next element is Saint-Germain, which is a Parisian liquor. It's like an old-fashioned liquor, which I like to rediscover, and it has some floral elderflower touch to it. And then I finish with a pinch of salt. Salt gives some dryness and roundness to the cocktail. And some ice cubes to give it a good stir.
And actually what Caroline also does and shows how much she likes to go into details, that she uses two different kinds of verjus, quite different. So this is a biodynamic one from Germany that has a very different acidity than the one she also uses that comes out of the Bordeaux region. So it really depends on what preparation that she makes, which verjus that she will take. So, and then we also want to talk a bit about another plate, and then we choose a dessert. Sometimes people forget about it in a fine dining restaurant. Desserts are very important, we believe, and we love desserts. I'm maybe one of those very few chefs that really loves dessert, but I love them. I don't love them sweet. I love them. We're very sweet people, definitely, but we don't like sweet food. And so we really create them and think about them as just all of the other dishes that we present in our tasting menu, which is actually the only option that you can have at our restaurant. And so we like them less sweet and almost on the border with a savory dish. So we brought a dessert on yellow beetroots. So the beetroots you can also see on the screen. Beetroots that we first gonna poach for a very, very long time, so that we get those natural sugars, and then we try to we caramelize them, just like that, just till they get a little bit black.
So the form of the Dries de la Note, Le Monde de Mille Couleurs, means the world of the thousand colors. and it is quite a wild farm. He calls himself also wild farmer because he is, besides a farmer, also a botanist. So he likes to do research on different kinds of vegetables and herbs, fruits, which are unknown, forgotten, or even from another part of, let's say, the world, but with the same hemisphere, and which he then adapts to the climate in Belgium as a way to be future-proof, you could say, for the climate change that is happening. So yellow beets, again, this is also an old variety that he used or that he planted in his garden and that we like to use.
Good. And so I caramelize it a bit more. That's the only pinch of sugar that we will use in this dessert. And on the bottom, I just put this pan to try that maybe there is a connection now between the cooking pot and the induction. Yes, it works. Now it does. Cool. So we have this just a biscuit that we put on the bottom. Here in this pan, which is being filmed now, we have a panna cotta that we make out of beetroot. So we use the leftovers, the scraps of the beets, combined with apple juice and puree that we make out of old apple varieties. So we work not only with Dries, but we have this whole system of producers. And so this is a really, really great project in the south of the country, in which that they are like going to all different old orchards that work with old apple varieties, pear varieties, height-stemmed trees, and so which they collect, they buy, and then we get those apples and pears in autumn. So here, beetroot and apple for the panna cotta. So then we leave it for 15-20 minutes till it's all set. We take it out, then we put it on the biscuit. We have this caramelized beetroot, and then you see here some more bags. We also make with the same old apple varieties. We have this crème pâtissière that we make, which is this one. Very fragrant, very fresh, only on natural sugars. So here we use two different varieties, a sweet one and a very more like acid one. A ganache of white chocolate to bring some fattiness, because fat is always good, we all know. And this is like the one of the key elements as well in the dessert, which you have here, which is really, really extremely fragrant. So the flavor that and the smell, this is the hibiscus, coming from the same man that grows all of the citrus fruits for us. And so we got these like 3 kilos of hibiscus, and then we decided to blacken them. So we caramelized them at 60 degrees Celsius for 3 months, was a bit over 3.5 months, till it's all the way black. We pureed it, and that will be like the fireworks on the dessert. And the last element is, which I will show you. Yeah. This one. Oh. Is a sorbet that we make out of the old apple varieties, combined with woodruff. Woodruff herb coming out of our own garden at our house in Brussels. Very fragrant. So we dry it, so to make it even more intense. And when I come in the morning and it is drying, which is 2 stories up from where it is drying, I can smell it. So it's really like very explosive, and that's what finishes off this dish. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.